Quorum? I think we should. I think there should be a quorum. Five are here. Ready?
Yep.
Let's call the Board of Public Works Capital and Capital Assets meeting October 10th to order. Roll call.
Marshall here.
Guzikowski here.
Zarnecki here.
Sligali here.
Okay, approval of minutes from 9/14. Any comments or questions? If not, motion to approve.
Marshall will move to approve the minutes of September 14th, 2023.
Sligali seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
I believe I abstained because I was not here.
Yes.
Sligali aye.
All righty. Number 4, information review, common council actions. Matt?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, board members. We have 3 items that were approved by the city council recently. The first, as far as an update on the 2024 budget, the council workshopped the budget, including the capital improvement program that the board recommended. The council looked at the CIP very favorably, and it looks as though the CIP will be approved as is. The council will formally adopt the 2024 operating and capital budget following a public hearing on November 21st. Secondly, a resolution approving the T-Mobile First Amendment to the lease agreement for the Howell Avenue monopole tower lease in the First District was agreed upon, and that'll actually basically equate to some more utility revenue, about $25,000 more, bringing that number to $60,000. And finally, a resolution accepting the workmanship of Edgerton Contractors Incorporated and authorizing a final contract payment under that project. If you recall, that was working with MMSD in transporting some additional fill that they had on one of their project locations to our Peter Cooper site, which saved the city a considerable amount of money. So I definitely appreciate working with them on that project and looking to close that out with the final contract payment.
Any comments or questions on that? Thanks, Matt. Number 5, consider a motion to approve the purchase of CCTV equipment from DigiCorp. Any comments or questions or discussions? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, good morning, members of the board. I'm just here for any questions on this. This is funds approved this year for purchase of these cameras. We're able to get much better pricing than we originally anticipated with the bulk purchase and doing project discounting with our vendor. So we're able to replace a few more cameras than we anticipated. So we're pretty excited about that.
Thanks for doing that.
Shouldn't they update the contact person to you on page 1?
The that was the original request from the CIP, which
Okay.
Kevin had originally wrote it prior to. But yeah.
Any other comments or questions? Motion?
Zarnecki will make a motion to approve the purchase of CCTV equipment from DigiCorp at a total of $67,340.
Marshall will second.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Sligali aye.
Okay. Thanks, Tom. Number 6, consider a motion to approve a quote to remove the ball field lights at Shepherd Hills.
Thank you. I'll take this one. So those lights at Shepherd Hills, unfortunately, are 47 years old right now. It sounds like those systems are designed to last about 30 years. Obviously, you can extend the life, as we've seen, out of those fixtures and poles. However, we are getting, I think, close to a point where we need to look at taking those down, and that's why it was recommended from the Parks and Recreation Commission to do so. Those are direct bury poles, so when we don't know the condition of them, subgrade. And really, the lights aren't used very frequently. I think as I alluded to in the memo, we had one league game basically per week that was played in 2022, and then this year we haven't had any at that time. If that would pick up again in the future, fortunately there are 2 fields there, so as long as we staggered them with summer, it stays light out, it seems like, till 10 p.m. We should be able to accommodate any increases to the league if things change in the future. We had a budget of $15,000, so we sought out a couple of quotes to help us safely take down those poles. The one that we are recommending from Paul G. Sempt and Sons Trenching is $14,500. That would include them taking the lights down and disposing of them. We just needed to remove the fixtures ahead of time, which we can do with our street lights maintenance technician. And then we'll do the stumping of the poles down to the ground and some of the restoration to keep that budget under $15,000, what we had had the council approve for 2023 and the board. So this was recommended and reviewed as well by the Park and Rec Commission again this year to go ahead with the project to remove those poles.
Questions? Pretty straightforward. If no comments or questions, motion.
Marshall will move to approve the quote to remove the ball field lights at Shepherd Hills Park from Paul G. Sempt and Son Trenching in the amount of $14,500.
Segale will second.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Segale, aye.
Number 7, consider a motion to award the 13th Street hydrant relocation project.
So this project is being undertaken due to the county's reconstruction of 13th Street. In this location, we've got a number of hydrants that are in the way of the new construction, as well as 2 sections of water main that need to be relocated as well. To get out of the way, you can see the bidding results here. They were all pretty close together, although not nearly very close to our budget that we prepared last year. So this project would be the award of the contract to UPI and also to add $100,000 to the capital budget for this project. There is a little bit of sewer work that needs to be done as well, adjusting some manholes, but all of the additional is on the water side. So very expensive work to move 12 hydrants.
Is there something, site conditions or something that's driving that cost up?
No. Sadly, no. And we just got an estimate on Rawson Avenue to do the work there when the county redoes that piece of the road, and that's at $500,000. And I think there's 14 or 15 hydrants there. It's just, I can't really explain it. It's insane what the prices are on some of this stuff. But we have no choice. The county's doing the work, so we have to get our facilities out of the way. This is being complicated a little bit. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds, but there was a ruling from northern Wisconsin that said that you can't use eminent domain to acquire property for the purpose of pedestrian access or sidewalks. So that's made a lot of the designers a bit gun shy on widening out areas. So a lot of this sidewalk is kind of meandering within the property, available property that we have. That makes our work more difficult on keeping our hydrants out of where that sidewalk is going to go. So it's just, life has just gotten more complicated on all of this.
Seems like that. Did answer your. Any questions? Motion on that one, don't we? Yes. Motion then.
Zarnecki will make a motion to award the South 13th Street Hydrant Relocation Project construction contract to the lowest responsive responsible bidder, UPI Inc., based on the bid amount of $243,212 and amend the water capital budget by $100,000.
Marshall will second.
Roll call, please.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Segale, aye.
Alrighty. Number 8.
So number 8's a standard progress payment for the East Forest Hill project. It is the bulk of the project. There's just a little bit left to do. Payment number 1 is most of the project at $140,384.50.
Another straightforward one. Any comments or questions? Then motion. We need a motion on this.
Marshall will move to approve the progress payment number 1 for the East Forest Hill Avenue Water Relay Project to UPI in the amount of $140,384.50.
Galley seconds.
Roll call, please.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Sirdike, aye.
Galley, aye.
Ready. Number 9, consider a motion to approve the change order, number 1 to Susan Drive Water Relay Project.
So when we were working on the Susan Drive project on the east end at Verdev, there was a water main break during construction. When we went to work on that water main break, in sort of classic for that time, there's no stone base underneath the road in that location. This allowed for that stone base. So we had the contractor help us out on the restoration since they were right there doing the work. We repaired the main, and we had to do a little jockeying around with the new main to make that work. This is just a leftover piece, $1,500 for the stone base.
Mm-hmm.
At least it was already open. It could have been more.
Yeah. Any comments or questions otherwise? Motion?
Marshall will move to approve the change order number 1 for the Susan Drive Water Relay Project to Globe Contractors in the amount of $1,533.75.
Sirdike, second.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Sirdike, aye.
Galley, aye.
Okay. Consider a motion number 10 to approve the final payment for Susan Drive.
And that's, now that the change order's done, we'll go ahead with the final payment. The project's done, all the restoration is complete out there. They had to, I mentioned last time, they had to come back and replace some hydrant stems because they were not stainless steel. That's all work's been done, all the restoration's been done, as I mentioned, so this would be the final payment for the project. This payment is $36,264.15.
Done. Sounds like they're done over there then, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm really disappointed that Fred is not here.
Yeah.
Did I say that?
You could bring us a local update?
Exactly. He's like our feet on the ground there.
Yes.
Let him have the motion.
Yes.
Right.
Making sure he approves.
Yes. Any other comments or questions? Sorry. Then we need a motion for number 10.
Marshall moves to approve the final payment for the Susan Drive Water Relay Project to Globe Contractors in the amount of $36,264.15.
Galley seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Sirdike, aye.
Galley, aye.
Okay, number 11. We have to consider a motion to approve Duke's root control treats sanitary system in the amount of $15,000. You, Mike?
Yes, it is. Yeah. So once every 2 years, we do root control treatment on a number of our sewers. We tend to stay on the smaller size sewers. We feel it works. Their product works better in that location, those locations. We'll go back then and verify that the roots are not growing, and we just keep a track of sewers that need to have this treatment done. Like I said, we do it about once every 2 years. This traditionally is a cost. It's around $25,000 is what we're targeting. This year happens to be $15,000. Dukes has done a fantastic job for us. It's a foaming agent that they put in the sewer to attack the roots and stop them from growing and kill them off. So that's the latest installment, I guess you'd say.
Okay, so I do have a question about
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
So, how do you determine what sewers need the root control? Do you have a problem beforehand?
No, what we do is we camera every one of our sewers once every 5 years. So we've got a video of the inside of the sewer, and we keep log then of which ones are progressively getting worse. The crew that we have on sewers now has been doing this for a very long time. They know the areas of the city that are, yeah, we better watch out for that one. And so when they camera it, they can tell what that growth rate is and know that we need it. So we really try and catch it before we have a problem.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I just wanted to know the process.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That's good to know because it happens throughout the city and we have people right on the job. So that's pretty awesome. Alrighty, so on number 11, we need a motion then?
Zarnicki will make a motion to approve Duke's Root Control to treat roots in the sanitary system in the amount of $15,700.32.
Marshall will second.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnicki, aye.
Secali, aye.
Alrighty, number 12, consider a motion to approve the utility vouchers.
Nothing special this time.
Okay? Nothing special. Alrighty. Any questions from the commission? Then motion.
Marshall will move to approve the utility vouchers for payment in the amount of $498,731.44.
Scally seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnicki, aye.
Scally, aye.
Alrighty, number 13, administrative and operation reports. Any comments or questions?
So on the reports, I'll just highlight just a few things for you. On the administrative report, while it's not shown here, the BSNA software conversion is going all in October, in November rather. We'll do the first cutover, the very first part of November, and we'll run through that, each one of the modules, and then support for that. It should be completed based on the schedule by the end of November. So we're hopeful everything goes smoothly there. That's it for administrative. Well, I guess I will highlight some of the increases. On the commercial side, there was a total of 4.7% increase over last year. That is, the most of them are really small increases or decreases under 1%. The only one that's over 1% is the Aldi warehouse, so it's relatively small there. But I will note that there's reclassified customers from industrial to commercial. That represented 2.3%. It also represents a reduction on the industrial. The reason why we transfer customers between commercial and industrial is to stay consistent with MMSD on the sewer side. So we just do the same thing on water. It makes billing and classifying so much easier. MMSD sets what customers are commercial or industrial for us. So we just follow suit with that. So that's why occasionally throughout the years, you'll see some adjustments on customer classes. On the industrial side, the total was 8.5% up, and the top two represent 6.3% of that, and that's We Energies and Crowthorne Laundry. That have gone up quite a bit. Of course, we've talked about We Energies in the past. And lastly, on customers, the wholesale has gone up 9.5% month compared to last year. Engineering, just not a whole lot to say there. I talked about the hydrant stem issue not being stainless steel. We have the same problem on Howell Avenue, so the contractor does have to come back and replace those. Those are on order, so we will see some more activity on Howell Avenue working on that warranty work. Our PLC project that has been dragging on at the treatment plant for quite some time is in full swing. Again, they're all working down there, and it should be completed by the end of the year. We think that's looking pretty good, but that is a really difficult process. We've had some really good heads-up operators down there as we make some computer changes, and all of a sudden either the screen goes blank or chemical feeds get changed. The operators are right on that and making manual changes to get it back to where it should be. So I'm really proud of them for that, but it has been a challenging project for sure. On distribution, we have a couple hydrants that had gotten damaged. We do not have claims for those. There were a couple hit and runs and a couple found when we were doing our hydrant flushing that are broken. So it's just our normal repair there. There is one hydrant that has just been a thorn for us. It is the one hydrant that's out of service at Nicholson and Fitzsimmons. We rebuilt the valve, the auxiliary valve there. It was leaking. We replaced the hydrant. We replaced the guts in the hydrant, couldn't get it to stop leaking. We replaced the hydrant. It is still leaking again. We're not exactly sure what the problem is. We think it's the hydrant's attachment to the old hydrant lateral there. So we think we may have to do a little bit more invasive work there by taking out that hydrant lateral. But that one's just been a thorn all summer long. It's been a problem to work with. So Greg Price, senior service worker Greg Price retired. His replacement is Chuck Strubing from our office. Chuck's a really good person. He's going to be really, the attention to detail, I think, is a great focus in that meter area. That's what Chuck's going to be working on, so we're really happy to have him there. And to backfill that replacement, Matt's been nice enough to donate an employee to come over. Matt, yeah, he knows about it.
I don't think Matt's real happy about
I thought I was
that.
going to get the silent treatment here. But one of the workers over there, Michael Nitecki, is coming over to work for the utility as a service worker position. Plant operations, everything is up. You can see the percentage is up. I guess I would just note that the yearly pumpage is up 5.6%, so there's some good growth going on there year to date. Other than that, I think that's all for the administrative report.
What did the meeting with Jacobs, Franklin, and DNR go?
Oh, really good. Nice long meeting. We had Franklin there as well, a couple of representatives from Franklin. We had probably 4 representatives from the DNR that were there as well. We talked about all different alternatives, and the goal next time is to prioritize those alternatives that have been put before us based on a weighting category, where that's our homework assignment. We're all going to come back, and then we will kind of develop that priority rating for them and be able to discuss them out as well. There were some good creative options, and we spent a fair amount of time after the meeting kind of huddled with some of the DNR folks. Hey, what about this kind of crazy idea? Would you accept this? Well, that's a problem. This is a problem, or this might work and is worth looking at. So it went really, really well. There isn't, from the presentation so far, there isn't a sort of a clear winner just yet. We don't have costs on any of this. We're just looking at what the benefits of the project is and how to construct it and that sort of thing. So we've developed the rating scheme, if you will. We'll then rate them at the next meeting. That should be early November for that meeting.
I think it's positive that you got Franklin involved. I mean, that's right there. I think it's a big win.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Yeah, they can really understand kind of what we're going through as well and what the project might look like and what features address this concern better than that concern and why it's not going to be a cheap fix. And it was great to have the DNR there too for the exact same reason. But we had the head of the drinking water, groundwater engineering section from Madison was in on the call, and he was weighing in on some items too. So it was really, really good meeting.
Sounds like it.
Great report.
Thanks for the information.
On your plant operations for your pumpage, I know in the past you've mentioned a couple big leaks. Was it We Energies?
Yeah.
Aldi had, didn't they?
Yeah, Aldi had a big leak. That one's solved, but they have grown quite a bit over there, so they are still using a fair amount of water. We Energies is still using a lot, and we've checked back in with them, and they think that it's related to their energy production. So they're not worried about, they don't think that there's a big leak down there. USPS, I've talked about them in the past. They've been sort of flushing the building. They've turned that down now, so we're not sure if that's going to get turned back on, say in the springtime or summer, or what exactly their plan is there, but
While you're looking at that, can I ask a question? There, the Fitz and Nicholson hydrant, is that affecting a resident in any way?
no,
Okay.
no, it's just a hydrant that's been isolated.
An inspection. Odor complaints from PPG.
Yes.
What is the nuisance, or what are they?
So have you been a little bit more involved in that?
I haven't been terribly
Okay.
involved with that. That's been mostly City Engineer Sullivan.
Yeah.
He's been dealing with that.
There, as I understand it, there's sort of an acetone kind of smell coming from around the area. I believe PPG has acknowledged it. The residents in that area have certainly acknowledged it or have recognized it. And I guess, yeah, it's a thing. There's something happening there. I'm not
Ambient air issue, not a
correct.
discharge or anything like
No,
that?
no.
Okay.
We are going to go down and monitor the sewer again. In the old days, whatever waste was coming out of PPG was eating away our concrete sewer. That subsided. So we are going to go back, just because of this complaint, we're going to go back and double check, make sure that our stuff isn't kind of disappearing again.
Good questions, everyone. All righty, number 14, consider a motion to approve the installation of deaf child sign in South Pine Avenue. Andrew?
Morning, board members. Andrew Ledger, design engineer. I'll be addressing this item. Yes, so we received a request from a resident on South Pine Avenue to install deaf child area signs. The resident has a son who's hearing impaired. They'd like those signs installed to increase awareness and encourage drivers to slow down. We did send out letter notify residents within 600 feet of the proposed sign installations. I didn't receive any comments back from them. Also spoke with Alderman Kirkowski. He has no objections to this item and is strongly in favor of it. It would be our recommendation that if the board accepts the request, that the signs would be installed, would be removed after 5 years unless the requester specifically contacts engineering to request an extension, and also that the requester would notify the engineering department if they move and the signs are no longer required. I've discussed those requests with the resident. They have indicated that that those conditions would be acceptable to them.
Good idea. Take care of it, for sure. Any other comments or questions? Motion.
I do have a question. Once we approve this, how long to get it up?
So typically I would email our Kevin over at the DPW yard, and he gets those up usually within a week or two. We are going to try and set out counters this time to see what we're seeing for volumes and speeds prior to the signs. So right now I'd probably request he waits a week so we can get kind of before and after data on these.
Marshall moves to approve the installation of deaf child area signs on South Pine Avenue.
Zarnecki will second.
Roll call.
Marshall, I.
Guzekowski. Aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Sigali, aye.
Number 15, consider a motion to approve the 2024 operating budget for the Oak Creek Water and Sewer Utility.
So I'll start out with a few comments. I'll introduce the budget to you, and then we can talk about whatever you would like to on the items. First, there are two separate enterprise funds, one for water and one for sewer. It operates like a business with revenues coming from the rates that are charged to the customers. The rates are comprised of two parts, a fixed portion and a volumetric portion of service. The water rates are approved by the Public Service Commission, in addition to any construction projects over a certain level that we undertake or wish to undertake. The utility is different from the city in that our revenues come from rates of our customers using our product and services rather than from taxes. We don't have the same pressures as the city focused on lowest costs within levy constraints. We are committed to providing our customers with one of the highest quality drinking water products in the country while still being good stewards of the customer's money. The utility then has the flexibility to invest in its infrastructure and operations in order to ensure that it is providing the best service to our customers. With that, the operating budget for the utility is meant as a guideline for management, the tool for us to determine whether we need to increase rates or not, and then to track how our spending is going from year to year or from quarter to quarter. There's no legal requirement for approval of a budget, nor are there public hearings required like the city has. We do review our budget against the actual financial records quarterly throughout the year. And for this budget this year, similar to previous years, the percentage projections that we've used are 0% revenue growth and 0% rate increase. 4% we've used to cover inflation, 3% for taxes and depreciation, 6.9% for benefits, which includes a 10% increase in health insurance premiums, 3% for wages, and 7% for MMSD pass-through charges. And with that, we have the budget. So what I've done, this is a summary budget this year again. We'll have a summary sheet for water and a summary sheet for sewer utility. What you'll see on it is the actual that was spent on each one of the categories for 2022, what we've estimated for the completion of 2023, the budget of 23, that variance between the budget and the actual for 23, because you can see how that's tracking, and then the budget for 24, and the variance between 24 and the estimated of 23. The budget for 24 based on those percentages I just mentioned, is largely based off the estimated for the total of 2023. So we're taking what we think we're going to spend or are going to collect in revenue in 23, we're using that as a basis for our budget going forward. So any questions on the numbers? And we can start with water if you like, and then we can move on to sewer. Sewer is only slightly different, and we can get to that in a bit, but it's only slightly different based on the MMSD pass-through charges. So a large component of it is what we collect from revenue, from our rates, from revenues from MMSD, and then what we pay out. And we'd like to have those numbers equal in the budget. It is intended to be a pass-through.
I don't have that information in my packet for the budget. Was it submitted with the packet?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay.
It was, I believe it was online. I know it was on one of the emails that I got back.
Okay. Well, I mean, we can proceed with comments and questions, and I don't have anything that I'm reading off of here, just so you know.
I can give you mine for now.
You don't have to.
Or at least
I guess my only question was, looking back through kind of historically, your rate of return on the water side keeps creeping up. Have you guys had any thought given to when that tipping point will be, when you might have to look at changing something up?
Yes. So we have been tracking the same thing and watching that, but for us, that all of that is meant to go towards our large project at the treatment plant. So when we have debt service at the treatment plant, that was supposed to have happened already, and that would have taken up what those rates were meant for. So we don't want to consider a rate decrease now, and then in a couple of years after the project's done, have to go for an increase, largely because no one remembers the decrease. They'll just remember this extra large increase. So that it's kind of it's a weird sort of reserve, and it's just because our financial plan worked that we were going to have this project already under works, but it just didn't happen that way. So yeah.
Thank you.
Any questions? Any other? I don't have any other questions either. So do we need a motion on number 15?
We'd appreciate that, yes.
Yes, sir. I see that now. We have a motion on number 15.
Marshall will move to approve the 2024 operating budget for the Oak Creek Water and Sewer Utility.
Galley seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Galley, aye.
Alrighty. That's it. There's nothing after 15, right? So we can make a motion to adjourn.
Marshall will move to adjourn.
Galley seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Galley, aye.
Thanks, everyone, for